Coming up on the Greg and Tim Show podcast.
We build that into our identity, and that's, to me, it frustrates me. It's not who we are at all.
Yeah.
I often will do like strange. We're going deep quick.
Loves to sing, loves to sing.
Are in this whole new trend of young pastors who are kind of buff.
When is this going to slow down?
We have the same freedoms as the United States. We don't. They have true freedom of speech, and this is something I had to come to terms with as becoming a preacher and teacher. Is that people will hear what they want to hear.
This is a debate all the time.
Are you kidding me?
You know I love to drive.
And being good are different.
This man
really
gets it completely naked every time.
I'm just going to answer the question. I'm staying in the lane.
He's staying in his lane.
Which makes him a better driver.
Yeah.
I still stand by my decision.
Get your earballs ready. Welcome to the Greg and Tim Show podcast. Take time to sit back and relax and enjoy the show. Here are your hosts, Greg and Tim.
Well, we have Jeremy Prest and Tamara Prest here in our studio. Jeremy is a
Can I
man
make a correction real
whose
quick?
passion for faith.
We already got a
community
correction.
what's that?
You already know. Do you know what I'm going to correct?
The last name, right? Because
She wouldn't take my last name, so her last name's Fontaine.
Fontaine Prest.
This is
Isn't it Fontaine Prest?
start.
It's just Fontaine.
It's just Fontaine.
Oh,
Let's just keep things
You
clear. That's all.
totally interrupted his intro.
No, that's
I
okay.
had to-
You know what? That's fine. That's
I
fine.
interrupt his
I will
intro
start again.
every time.
I will start again.
No, that's it. That's
No,
the
I
intro.
can start
We're
again.
done.
No, we're done
Now
the
we go
show.
to the first question. First question is,
No.
Jeremy, how dare you?
Question number one.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. He's correcting.
Get through.
Yeah, no problem.
Jer-
It's hard enough for him already.
Jeremy is a man whose passion for faith community is truly inspiring. He's a visionary leader guiding Miracle Channel as CEO, a dedicated pastor at Springs Church, and a voice of reason and humor on the Real Citizen podcast.
There's a little bit of humor.
But beyond his professional accomplishment, he's a devoted family man, and let's be honest, a self-proclaimed connoisseur of Krispy Kreme and Chick-fil-A.
That's true.
Tamara is a woman of remarkable grace and dedication, a pillar of strength
Are we gonna
as
do
a
another
loving wife and mother, and a truly exceptional educator, holding the coveted title of #1 rated teacher at the Prest or Fontaine Homeschool Academy.
There you go.
How many years running is that?
I feel so honored.
Yeah.
This is like 4, 5, maybe.
Yeah, on the 5th year.
So you're almost getting tenure.
Yeah.
Please welcome to the show, Jeremy and Tamara Prest and Fontaine.
Thank you.
Jeremy
you.
Prest and Tamara Fontaine.
And to speak to you, I won't correct my wife, so I only correct back.
How are you guys doing?
Really good.
Really,
Really
really
good.
good. It's good.
Nice to be
Yeah, it's
here.
really cool to be here. It's nice to be in the passenger seat, like I was telling you guys before.
So Jeremy,
And driving.
as you said, is CEO of Miracle Channel. He's also the pastor at Spring, one of the associate pastors, if I remember correctly, at Springs. And you also are the head of the media department at Springs, if I remember correctly as well.
Yeah.
You got 3 hats that you're wearing all the time. So we know who you are as a business person. Me and Tim know who you are as a business person.
Yeah.
But just as a regular person, you meet somebody on the street, you're introducing yourself on the first time. Who is Jeremy Prest?
That's a great question. If they ask me, I'll tell them, but I don't lead with pastor. That's for sure. It depends on the scenario, if who I'm in. But I first try to just pull out of them whatever I can. Like watching her dad Leon do what he did. He was multiple hats too. He was businessman, leader, teacher, pastor, preacher, friend. He wore all the hats, and so he always pursued friendship. And so he was like a human, authentic connection. And so that's what I do is I try to actually just connect on an authentic, like person level. And if it gets there, like for example, the girl who cuts my hair, I think she's cut my hair 15 times, and I just told her what I do just now.
Okay.
But we've had amazing conversations, and we've talked faith, we've talked culture, we've talked politics, talked it all. Job never came up, and I hate leading with that because especially the title CEO, I hate that title. Like I really don't like it because people assume a lot of things about what it means.
Yeah.
And so, for example, a lot of times people go, "Oh, must be nice to be the boss." I'm like, "You should try it. It's great."
Yeah,
miserable.
it's not easy.
Like it's like it's got a lot of perks to it. Sure, you can make decisions and choice, and you have a little more freedom here and there, but it comes with a price. It comes with a lot of burden, and so I love my job. Don't get me wrong, I love it. But to answer your question, I don't usually lead with what I do. I try to just connect with people as a fellow Canadian or whoever it is I'm talking to.
Awesome.
So you said what you aren't, and you don't like to lead with it, but you never actually answered the question: who is Jeremy Prest?
That was my political answer.
See, this is why we
Good
want
catch.
Tamara on the
No.
show.
I was going to correct it anyway.
Is because we want to have.
No, okay. Well, that's fine. I'll go straight to the answer. I am a curious person, and I'm a person who, who am I? I think ministry about just about everything I do constantly, and so I'm always thinking, how can I connect with them, and what does the Holy Spirit want me to do in this moment with them? And so I'm just I feel like I'm just a vessel for for Christ, as a believer, and if I'm going to go like super spiritual with it, which I could do a full teaching on like who we are and who our identity should be. I could go there, but I think that's probably the clearest way that I could do it is I'm a father, I'm a husband. Those are all like roles I carry, but they're not who I am. And so I don't want to get too spiritual or too deep on this question.
You can do whatever you want. This is you.
But in the context of you talking about me introducing myself to someone, I believe it's an opportunity to get to teach someone about Jesus every opportunity you have. And so whether you do it immediately or whether you do it down the road is whatever, but it only comes through authentic connection first. So
Fantastic.
I didn't even really answer the
No,
question.
you didn't.
I don't know what to say. I don't know. Who am I? I don't know.
You know what? It
question.
is a tough question,
Yes.
and we did an episode where we
Yeah.
like tried to get the questions back on us, and
Yes.
we did the.
Yes.
I had a hard time with that too.
I don't know what to
On
say.
any given day, you don't.
It's not my job. It's not my role.
Yeah.
It's not my titles. It's not my pay. It's not my salary. It's none of those.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I know what I mean. That's what I mean. It is hard to
I
encapsulate.
feel I spend my entire life figuring out who I am, and
Yeah.
each day that could change, right?
Which is why it's the only question we send to our guests.
For me, I love that. For me, I spend a lot of time disassociating with who I think I am.
Right.
So like in my study, in my word, and in what I'm doing with the word, I spent a lot of time as a young man actually trying to break down who I think I am. Because we tend to associate with our trauma, our problems, our stresses, our worries, and then we build that into our identity, and that's, to me, it frustrates me. It's not who we are at all.
Yeah.
I often will do like strange. We're going deep quick. Strange thought exercises where I'll often try to do things being like, you wake up tomorrow and your memory is wiped. What do we see? What kind of Greg do we see? You don't know who you were, where you've come from, what cities you're born in, none of that. So what do you see? And so that's what I mean is like I try to do stuff like that because then it really causes you to realize, okay, who am I then? Who is Jeremy? Is Jeremy a set of patterns I've learned to do and go to work and come back and study here and read here and do this? Yeah, so those are patterns I've done, but who am I? And that's why I think what the word says to you, whether you're a believer or not, whoever's watching this, I do believe you have to ask the question where you came from and why you're here. And that is usually the root of that.
It sounds like a book that's ready to be written.
It's at the editors. it's coming next week. Okay, so
I think in like...
Well, no, it sounds like if you could write down your thoughts on who you are right now.
I do. I have an entire book full of
You could probably publish something.
There's 1,000 pages. I'm not even actually.
So let's pivot and not get too far into that rabbit hole.
Totally agree.
This is correct me if I'm wrong, the second time we've had two guests at one time, third.
Yeah.
So we haven't had the opportunity to be graced by two guests at one time very often. So I'm gonna.
One of the times with our wives.
Yeah.
So nice.
Right.
So both of our
Well, that
wives
must
joined
have
us a couple weeks ago, and that was the first time Tammy.
Did you guys
did on
get
the
any
podcast.
words in or?
No, did they get? The question is, did they get any words?
That was the thing. They actually said that. Well, this like, what are we doing here? They didn't. They thought that they weren't. But Lorraine talks a lot.
So the reason why we wanted the two of you on here because the added dynamic of the two of you is so awesome. We've seen you both on stage. You actually are very, very funny, and I just enjoy every time you're there together, as whether you're emceeing or whatever. But I'm going to toss.
I like it when Tamara introduces Jeremy.
Yeah, it's great.
And then when Tamara's watching,
my favorite is
Jeremy
when,
usually says something that Tamara probably doesn't appreciate.
Yeah, and the eyes roll back, or she shakes her head.
I'm
just this
usually
last weekend.
third row
I've
behind
gotten
them.
in trouble after getting off stage because I'm like, why did I say that? Like,
But I want to turn the question now to you.
Wow. The same question.
Who is Tamara Fontaine?
And it is you. Well, I know when you're on the spot, it feels a little bit more deeper. No, I just think, who am I as if I was to introduce? You know, I am, like you said, I'm a wife, I'm a mother. I'm very proud of those two things in my life. And very excited to be able to just do that life, but also combined with ministry. Ministry is so important to me, and growing up with it my entire life, it's all I've known. But it's always been such just something I don't know any different from, nothing that I feel like is a job, but just truly just like a calling that our family has been in. And so yeah, I don't know, I would just say wife and mother, and like Jeremy said, just blessed to be a follower of Christ and to do ministry with my life and have it in my everyday with everything that I do. And I love that. So it's a pleasure. It's an honor to do something like that, and to, you know, and we don't take it lightly. I think I take it very seriously, just, you know, the positions that we are in now and have been. And that is a very serious thing, because, you know, you're guiding and leading and saying things to people that, you know, they take very seriously into heart, and that could change them. And yeah, so that's kind of what I would say.
No, that's a great answer. I think that's better than Jeremy's.
It was better.
Just kidding.
It was better.
I have a question for Tamara, though, that's not even on the list, and it just came to me as you were talking, because you're a very good speaker.
Oh gosh, thank you.
Have you taken speaking courses, and how long does it take you to prepare to MC before services?
Oy. Back in the day, we like with leadership, like our biblical leadership, like our master's
Springs
program
College.
and stuff, we did do like communicators and things like that. As far as like other training, no. I think I'm very grateful that watching my dad for as long as I have, that was honestly like the biggest teaching in my life. And just seeing how he did it and what he would do, and so it was something that I admired and learned from very much. And so when I do MC, I just do my own thing, where it's depending on what I'm MCing or what I'm doing, I'll study a little bit as to like what I want to say, what things I want to touch on. But no, it still isn't. It's something that I have to learn to like love to go do, because I really don't like to do
Oh, really?
it. So as much as I like love people and I'm a very talkative person, as soon as it's like a stage thing, I'm just not a fan.
Yeah, like it's taking quite a bit of provoking to get you up there.
Yeah, I'd say.
And even, but then you've really like I agree with you.
Yeah.
Every time she's up there, I'm like, man,
There's something
holy smokes!
happening
I know every time.
when you're up
Oh
there.
gosh, thank
And
you.
I just don't, like, it's hard to put your finger on it, because if
I know, I
I
agree
went
with
up
you
there, even now, I can speak in front of people.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I could speak with the conviction that you speak with.
Oh wow, thank you.
So-
I think before I used to be very scripted. Like I would literally write out exactly verbatim what I want to say and go over it and over it and over it until in my head I was like, okay, this is kind of sticking. I know what I want to say. I was a very fast speaker. So I remember just being like, and then I'm like, okay, Tamara, you need to slow it down just a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think in one of those things too, Dad forced me to go up there when you don't want to, or when you least expect it. And he's like, just go do it. Like, you're fine. Just go, like, give it a chance and see what happens. But I think obviously doing it over and over, like with anything, you just kind of get used to, okay, this is how I do it. And I think back then, the pressure of performing it a certain way really gets to you. And you're like, I am not a speaker like my dad or Jeremy or, David or Zach or anything like that. To me, it doesn't come as easily to me. But now I just am very like, well, this is just how I do it. So I'm just going to do the way that I do it. And that's
It is
just
a
how
skill,
it is.
though. It's a muscle that can be trained, just as you train anything else. And if you put in the reps, it will come as long as you have, as long as you can look at yourself through a lens of being vulnerable and actually having somebody speak to it, and then actually making some serious changes. But like the other thing I'll say is, and I'll be curious to get your thoughts on this, and I guess all three of us interviewing tomorrow. Is,
It's okay. We got some
well, because
questions for you too.
in my experience, you get to a place where you start to trust your instincts.
Right.
So you can walk up there not having anything prepared, but I know that my instincts, I trust what my instinct will do. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. I think, like I said, like, I think it took me a second to be like, I wasn't very good at like off the cuff at the beginning. Like, it just made me nervous. Like, what if I drop my thought and I don't know what I'm about to say next, or what if this or what if that? But I think depending on what I'm emceeing, like, I do remember, like, the one thing my dad would always, always say to me was like, Tamara, confidence brings authority. Like, be confident. You know what you know. Like, this isn't something you don't. And you're not doing this for the first time. And it's true. Like, I did know it. And so you just kind of have to let yourself get out of the way of it and be like, okay, God. And honestly, I feel like that's how I do it too. When it comes to, if I'm coming up to pray or something, I just take the words that people are singing or whatever, and I really just make them like, what is it speaking to me? Like, what would I say in this moment? How would I want, how does it pertain to me?
Yeah.
And I do it in that way.
It, yeah.
Yes,
Totally.
for sure.
And so that's kind of what that's what I do. So yeah, but.
And that's where the conviction probably comes from as well, right?
Yes.
If you have the conviction in what you're saying, the power of what you're saying will come through the mic as well.
So 3 kids.
3.
Ministry.
Yes.
You have a lot of things going on. It's often you're in between 2 cities, Calgary and Winnipeg.
Yes.
It's a busy life.
It is.
How do you find maintaining balance in your life in every aspect?
I got a lot to say about that.
Me and Jeremy had this conversation recently because I remember one time we were like, holy smokes, like, when is this going to slow down? We kind of had this like, what's happening here? But honestly, I feel like both of us we just realize that like our lives are just busy with what we do. And we've always had busy lives. I wouldn't say chaotic. I would say like there's almost normalcy in how busy we are. And growing up, I feel like I'm used to kind of being here, being there. So that kind of stuff doesn't faze me. But for me, I try to actually look at it as not a stressful thing. Like, oh my gosh, like, okay, where are we, what are we doing? Or not what are we doing, but how long are we staying here? And how long is this going to take? And to me, I just kind of get plugged into whatever moment we're in or whatever chapter we're in and just be like, okay, this is life right now. This may be a season, who knows for how long, how busy it's going to be or whatever. But
I know so many people who, and it's going to sound really negative towards anyone who doesn't have my style. So I'm not intending that, but what I'm essentially pointing to is we've really learned to not be attached to really all that much. And for example, we're technically homeless at the moment. We don't even have a home, so we have no house. And if you were to get our kids here and interview them and go, "How's life?" I bet you they wouldn't even mention the fact that we don't have a house. Probably wouldn't even come up in their head. There's not much like anguish and what by homeless I mean we were renting a home and our landlord ended up selling it quickly and we didn't have enough time to find a place. We came over here. I'm doing some work out of here and we're shopping for a place to rent or possibly buy. So we're trying to figure that out. And but our kids are not even noticing it, and her and I forget to look for a house often. That's how much it's not on our minds. And so what I mean by that is, in one of the things that attracted to her most was the easygoing style of her and how she carries herself, and that's something that I value and I do myself. And so we're not like attached or bothered really by not having routine or not. And I know so many people that irritates so many people. They're like, so you don't have like a set bedtime? No, we're actually both night owls, and we stay up quite late.
Are you both extroverts?
Yes. Yeah. There's like a time where maybe I just want to have some
expires.
moments, but mostly I would say we both are.
Yeah, but we both go with the flow. We both thrive. I thrive in busyness. I really do. If things get a little too slow, I get a little antsy, and I love, but that's what I would say is that we both are not emotionally attached to any structure of life at all. I would say the only thing probably would be ministry. Is like that is the non-negotiable thing that's in our life,
right?
And family.
Yeah, awesome. You referenced reps when you were talking about something else earlier, and that's what one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. You're
gonna get right into that one already.
Zach and David are in this whole new trend of young pastors who are kind of buff. and who reference health and nutrition in a lot of examples at church. Whereas it seemed like pastors of the past, would speak with a lot of conviction, but they wouldn't take care of their bodies. Is that something that you believe is important as a believer to keep yourself physically healthy?
I felt very hypocritical, or I felt like a hypocrite when teaching to be disciplined, diligent, wise, a master builder, name anything you want.
Yeah.
Yet your own thing that you have is you're not taking care of it. And so it hit me last January, so about 16 or 15 months ago. And I started working out in January and kind of making a lot of tweaks and changes. And so I have some like health routines. I've also had a lot of health issues over the years due to like abuse of sleep, like lack of sleep. I used to just run on coffee and caffeine endlessly and put myself in the hospital a couple of times. And I have since made some radical changes to fix that. But yes, I think they go together. And I think like the word teaches us about our body, how to lead and live a long life, and et cetera, et cetera. So yes, absolutely. I think they both go hand in hand. And it was eating me alive a bit on the inside if I wasn't going to get it sorted. And so, yeah.
So one thing you talk about is sleep, and I noticed that everybody in your family, and I think I saw
Has an
Tamara
aura-
has one as
aura ring,
well,
yeah.
has the aura ring. I have one as well.
Yeah.
So I know what it's all about. Can you kind of explain? David actually brought it up during the conference a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you were there when
at
he
Elevate,
brought
you
it
brought it
up.
up?
Yeah, and he said, "Who has one?" And not a lot of
did he?
people.
I didn't know
That's
that.
so
That's
funny.
fine.
And
We
because
got him hooked on Aura.
Yeah, we did.
because he said this is like the worst thing that's ever happened
I
to me
know.
because it tells me when I'm sleeping. It
Yes.
tells me
Yeah.
how bad my sleep
You
was.
should see them like
His
for
sleep
a
still needs
while,
fixing.
You and David and Zach will still do. You'll just compare numbers, and they
Always.
instantly pull the graph out.
the
And they're
whole
like,
point.
"But what about this? And what about this?"
I'm a numbers guy on everything.
Yeah, you
I
are.
love
Yeah.
numbers on everything.
But
So do
So
you
yes.
study that a lot then? When you like, do you get up in the
Obsessively.
morning
Yeah.
and
For
check
one
it
of the
out
first
right
things
away?
I do, yeah. And so for those who have no clue what we're talking about, the Aura ring is just this ring that has heart rate monitor, oxygen level, steps counter. It's one of the few devices that counts heart rate variability, which is the gaps between your heartbeat, which indicates stress levels. If you have a very predictable HRV, which is let's say 40 milliseconds between heartbeats, and it's very consistent, and it should have a wide range between like a very good heart would be like 25 milliseconds to like 110 milliseconds, meaning
Okay.
for example, if you have 60 beats a minute, but it beats perfectly 1 second gaps all the way across, you would think, oh, it's a healthy heart. That's actually a very stressed out heart. So you need gaps that are longer and shorter so that your heart gets rest. That's actually where it recoups. And so the only reason I know this is because of this ring and studying it and figuring out how to get better sleep and when to stop eating at night so you get more REM sleep, more deep, and then you ultimately feel better. Most people, this is the thing that I discovered myself, was we get so used to feeling like garbage,
Right.
that becomes our new normal, and we don't know what it feels like to be feeling good anymore.
That's our standard.
Yes, and so
Yeah.
once you get into the realm of how good you can actually operate and how great you can feel, you get this taste of a drug called sleep that most people don't know, and you realize, whoa, I can operate at a high level. And so that was a big part of me actually elevating my business life, my family life, my reading focus was sleep. Like you just all of a sudden you have a capacity in you that you don't even know you have because you're so chronically tired.
Right.
And so I had to fix that. And after fixing that, now I'm like, I can nerd out so far on supplements and things that I do and all sorts of stuff.
So
Like
you
ridiculous
say
stuff.
like you look at the numbers and you study those numbers.
Mhm.
Do you think that sometimes by focusing on the numbers you lose track of the actual feeling?
Well, the feeling doesn't mean much, in my opinion. So, like, typically when people wake up and they go, "Oh, I feel like I didn't get a good sleep last night," that feeling is usually useless because it doesn't necessarily mean much. What it means usually is where you woke up in your sleep cycle.
Okay.
So when you wake up and you feel really gross, you probably just woke up straight out of deep sleep and you didn't have enough time to get to like, it happens in 90-minute intervals. And so if you wake up in the middle of that 90 minutes, you will feel heavy and groggy and gross. So that feeling doesn't really matter. That's why the numbers are so important. So you can see what your heart's actually done.
Yeah.
If your REM is low. So the numbers, I trust the numbers more than I do. And at first I didn't trust it. So I used to wear a Fitbit and the ring to see if there was any correlation because I was like, I don't trust this thing.
Yeah.
And when they both got numbers that were very close to my sleep cycles and the length of time and my heart rate and what it was doing, I was like, all right, so 2 devices simultaneously at the same time. There's a lot here.
It's more comfortable to sleep with a ring on than
much more.
Fitbit
It's just
on.
like anything, you don't want it to become an obsession.
of course not.
Because
No.
I've seen people where it's like that's all they care about now. They look at the numbers. It's like, okay, nope, this is this.
I can
You
almost
use it as a guideline for sure.
That's exactly it. Like
The tool like anything else.
it doesn't
Exactly.
bother me at all.
And it is pretty crazy what it can tell you
Oh,
as
for
far
sure.
as everything. So even when we heard about it and when we got
Mm-hmm.
it, we were like, let's just see what we think about this thing. But it's
Like,
been
you
an
can curb-
amazing tool.
You can curb I don't want to say like sickness, but like there's markers of that your body
It'll tell
is
you when you're
headed
getting
towards
sick.
sickness
Totally.
Right.
that you would never have known
It's very
before.
interesting too. Like, for
Yeah.
instance, say you didn't sleep very well one
Yeah.
night. It will tell you in the morning, like, hey, your heart rate did not drop. Your body is not in heal mode.
Yeah, it's not
or
recovering.
anything.
Yeah.
So do not do anything physically crazy today,
Mhm.
right?
Don't
So
stress.
even things like that, where it's like you would have no idea before. Say you go to the gym, do a full set, like
It'll
full
notice
workout.
if your heart rate or sorry your body temperature is like a degree elevated, which is a big deal.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so
Yeah,
it
you're
just tells you, it gives you good guidelines to just kind of make
So,
sure.
so sleep is important. We got that. After a busy week,
Yeah.
you've gotten your sleep, but it's been a really busy week. What's kind of your favorite chill things to do just to kind of unwind? And as a couple, as individuals,
With the kids, without the kids.
I think if it was just like at night at home, the kids are in bed, we usually throw on a show
See,
or a movie.
This is where we're very different than my answer to you is I don't know. Like that's really my real answer to you. And what I mean by that is I don't have a weekend in my mind. Like I mean that. I'm not sitting there going, when's Friday coming? When's Friday coming? I love what I do. I'm very lucky to love what I do. I'm very lucky that it's kind of infinite minded. You know that Simon Sinek book,
Yep.
Finite in the Infinite Game.
Yeah, the infinite game.
So when you're thinking, when you live in an infinite game type mentality with ministry and what we do, there's no off switch. I don't have an off switch, and so I don't view Monday different from than Saturday or Sunday night or this. And so busyness, sure, try to create some space to just not be so busy, to let your body physically recoup. But you're right. Like we put the kids down, watch movies, hang out. We go on dates. If the dates are far and few between, we try to prioritize a bit more.
Mhm.
I will say if I act a real R&R, I guess, will be a massage for me. That's my like
from your wife or from a massage
anywhere I
therapist?
can get a massage from. I will.
Tamara
like,
shaking her head no,
it's-
which
oh,
means that it's not from your
It
wife.
does. No,
She's
he-
the best
he books
masseuse.
more massages than I have ever gone on. Like,
But
actually,
you go
it
book
is
any
ridiculous.
massage you want.
Well,
Unlimited budget.
I have
Whatever
one
you
coming
want.
up on Thursday, so
There you go.
See?
There you
and
go.
when you find a good masseuse,
Oh, I know, right?
and you know that you can like trust that they're going to
Yes.
massage you
Yes.
in
that's
the best comfortable
that's
way.
Jeremy. That is Jeremy.
So yes, I
It
guess
is
I'm a
about
little bit.
pressure, and it's
I
about
love-
comfort.
You're gonna ask him the other question? Probably not. We'll leave it.
Which other question?
Well, the massage question, but we won't.
You wanna? You can
No,
ask
no,
that
it's
question. I'm sure
can?
we
Anything,
can
go
cut it
nuts.
out
Whatever you want.
if he doesn't want
We
it.
had the question.
We've had a debate, and you don't
I-
come to the men's breakfast
the-
yet. You've
the-
got
I
to come
know,
to
I'd
the men's
love to.
The
breakfast.
Love to.
debate was
Is there one this Saturday?
when a guy
No.
goes for a massage,
Yes.
do you take off all of your clothing?
I've never been naked for massage.
And I am with you.
Yeah.
This man
Really?
gets it completely
Butt
naked
naked?
every time.
So you don't get glute massages then?
No, I get glute. They'll like adjust your underwear to do glute massage. In fact, actually, I actually have like trouble with my glutes because my hips are extraordinarily tight. I don't know why, but I cannot sit cross-legged, and so I will often ask them, be like, if you can, like, my hips are issues. So, but I've never taken off my underwear, and actually, don't they like they specify sometimes? Have you ever had that?
No.
Well, so like the massage I went last week for.
Ask me when my massage was. When was my last?
She like specified.
2022?
She literally said,
Leave on
down to your underwear, please. You know,
Okay.
And
Anyway, that
So
a great
the
question.
reason why is
don't beat
because
yourself. It's a good question.
in Mexico, me and Lorraine went for couples massages,
Yeah.
and I left mine on. It was probably like my second massage ever,
Yeah.
and because I didn't get them a lot, and then the lady's like, actually, like, because as she's massaging, she's like, "Can you?"
I understand what you mean, though. Like, I will say this, like, one time, we're getting really personal here, is she was massaging the glute to work the muscle, and, like, in order for her to move it out of the way, she's, like, wrenching it up your crack.
Yeah,
And so you're like, oh, this hurts.
We'll
So
beat
I
that
get
out.
it. I do get it.
It's all
Yeah.
right.
It makes sense.
and
but-
they don't like when they pull up the cover for you to flip over. They pull it up so they can't see.
yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
So
I know.
they do that on
you are. It is
purpose.
private. I've never felt violated or anything. But I'm not easy to violate, though. I'll tell you that. I don't have.
Please keep that in.
That's the segment that we want to cut.
So I want to transition to something else here. Being that you are a couple at church,
Yeah.
you have a personal life,
Mhm.
and you have a life that you share sometimes from the stage, sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
It seems like pastors of the past would share absolutely nothing about their personal life
Yeah.
and almost seem to be subhuman
Yeah.
until they weren't.
Yeah.
And seems like the trend in today's pastors is to share more of themselves and their personal lives
Mhm.
to connect more with their audience.
Yeah.
Where do you find the line to separate what your personal family, marriage, etc. life is,
Mhm.
but still connect enough to share so that you can connect with people from the stage?
It's a very good question. I find it hard to find the line because I side on oversharing is usually where I get because
You speak from very personal things.
Yeah,
So you do share more.
I do
would
overshare,
say.
and I find I get more in trouble for that than
No, you're
undersharing.
acting like I harp
No,
on
I'm
you.
not saying you trouble.
Okay. 'Cause
I mean,
was like, that is
I
not true.
Just
create.
in like comment cards and
Yeah, like too much. I'm giving too much. I probably
Too
shouldn't.
personal.
Yeah. So I think that's the side I'm usually on. And the reason I go there though is because I've been on this side, like you're talking about, where it's like they feel like a robot sometimes. Where you're like, are you real or are you perfect and you have no flaws, really? Like, and so I don't ever want to I don't want to convey that ever. I'm not, and I'm trying to let people know that this is a working thing that I'm wrestling with at the exact same time. Like
Yeah.
we were in Costco yesterday, and we had a guy bump into me, and one thing he said to me, which was a very nice compliment. I don't know if he realized it was a compliment, but he said, "I love that you are you wrestle with it in real time." And so when you're teaching up there, he goes, "I can see you wrestling with the concept and delivering at the same time." And I was like, yeah, I try to actually, like I really do,
Right.
because just the same way as in this conversation, I don't know what you're going to ask me next, and I don't know what I'm going to say next because it depends on what you ask me. It's an evolving thing that's happening. Similar to preaching, it's like it's a two-way conversation, and I of course prep and preach, and then you leave room for Holy Spirit, and He does guide you sometimes where you're like, where did that come from? But it does. It's a two-way street, and you kind of feel what the crowd is responding to, I guess.
Yeah. I think that in some ways you do have to protect
Yeah.
your privacy though, like
Yep.
for sure. Like I understand that just watching pastors in
Mhm.
my life do it. But it's a fine line as to like what you want to share, what's oversharing.
Yep.
Some people I think can take it too much and just think like, well, I
Yep.
deserve to
Yeah.
know, tell me
Yeah.
more. Or,
Right.
I've had a couple people, say things to me like, well, just be very upfront. And I think before it used to just make me uncomfortable, but
Yeah.
I'm just as bold as they're bold. So like, I'll just right away, just call it out
Well,
and be like, no.
That's a really good tactic.
But I don't know. But I think to me, I've always connected with pastors that speak from a personal point of view.
Mhm.
Right.
Because like we're all human. We're
Mhm.
all going through this different things, same things,
Yep.
loss,
Yeah.
health, everything. So it's kind of neat just to see someone be able to talk about the experiences that they're experiencing and what they're wrestling with and what they're learning with right now.
Yep.
So yeah. I don't know. It's a fine line. You kind of have to. Sometimes you'll tell me if there's things that you want to bring up in a message. And you're like, hey, like if I brought up this personal story, like, and I appreciate that
Mhm.
because I think there are some things depending on what you go through in life that maybe you're not ready for people to
Right.
know details to.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, in that
Yeah.
way,
Because technically, you guys are public figures. Like,
Yeah.
even though it's mostly amongst the church, you guys are public figures.
The channel has really amplified that,
Yeah.
being the CEO of the channel. Like yesterday we were talking about that, and all of a sudden one of our family members brought up a point saying, like, have you ever Googled or asked ChatGPT, anyone at home there would be curious for you guys to do this, tell me everything there is to know about Greg Stewart. Like,
Mhm.
and it's kind of scary what it pulls up. So we did that yesterday, and I was reading about it, similar to your intro, where it was an intro almost like that, but it was telling you everything, and
it was quite
it was
crazy.
creepy. But then I was like, well, what do I expect? It's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your
it's all,
stuff's out there.
it's all
all the
out
time.
there.
Totally.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
the incident, did it pop up? The
The incident,
Your
yeah, it's
incident?
in my it's in my intro.
All right. We
Um,
don't talk
but-
about that much,
But we should get to the second question.
Oh,
of the
geez. What's
interview.
okay? Yeah, go nuts.
The second question of the interview is, and I want to change this one, and I
Okay.
haven't even told Tim.
Oh,
Normally, we'll ask you,
Mhm.
what is something we don't know about you?
Mhm.
But what I want to ask Tamara is, what is something we don't know about Jeremy?
I knew you.
it could be a hidden talent. It could be something a little quirky. It could be anything.
He has a stuffed animal that he sleeps with.
It's
imagine.
pink.
I don't think I'd
It's
be
pink.
sleeping with him if there was a stuffed animal in the bed.
I'm gonna test you.
I don't know, like he loves to sing, loves to sing.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people know he loves music. He talks about it all the time, but like you will see him all the time. Like it cracks me up. Like
So
he will
funny.
just randomly put like like a rap together if he's like really like in like feeling this beat of a song, and the kids love it because they'll just have a heyday when he turns the music on and they're just like singing like crazy. You're a good singer too.
Master
Can he
rapper.
jump on
He's a
stage?
very good rapper. He totally could.
Yeah?
I think he could.
Oh my
If
God.
with a little bit more like training and singing a little bit more, he probably could. But musically he is very good when it comes to
That's
singing.
really funny.
Singing.
Can we
I
get him to
always
do
say
some
that.
NF
Yeah,
or?
can you imagine?
next time you preach on
Next time you
stage.
preach. We'll have to come to
I'll
Spring
send you
Church.
the song list and
That's
we'll
the
just
only,
request
like,
that.
quirky thing I'm
That's
trying to
funny.
think.
I love it.
No,
That's
that's
awesome.
cool.
Master
That's
rapper.
really
And
But now that we've allowed Tamara to
Of
do
course.
that, we have to allow Jeremy.
what is something we don't know about Tamara
Hmm.
Fontaine?
I don't think you really I don't think you really have anything. to
He's
say.
like, I don't think you really want to share
I'm
anything,
kind
do
of
you,
an-
Jeremy?
I'm kind of an open book too. So like,
Yeah, you are for sure. I'm trying to just think of something like that they really
we,
don't know.
we can give you the rest of the episode to think
Yeah,
about it.
that's
We can
true.
move on if you want.
Wait, just give me a couple seconds.
You want us to
Tim?
move on and we can come back to it?
Yeah, I'll think about it. Let me think because I want to get. There's like, yeah, I'll come back to it.
Okay, let's go on to Real Citizen.
Mhm.
Some politics. We're coming up to an election here.
So you're gonna ask Tamara this question, right?
Yeah. Well, she can chime in if she
okay,
wants.
I'll chime, but
So we went through a whole 5 years of COVID.
Yeah, it was
And
crazy.
5 years of COVID.
well,
Well,
five,
I was like, what?
three,
I guess so.
2, 5,
Something like that.
2. So it feels like 5 years.
three or
Anyway,
two.
and
For some of us, it was no years. We just kept
doing
living.
so there's an aspect of the population that wants Christians to sit down and shut up,
that. Mhm,
don't talk against the narrative, keep church and state separate.
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
And not only did the Church of Springs speak out against some of these guidelines that were in place,
Mhm.
but now you're doing a podcast which deals with politics. How do you respond to someone who says Christians should get out of politics and just worship God, be humble, and don't speak up?
I think it's a ridiculous thing for anyone to tell anyone to get out of politics. I think no matter what they think about or what they do for a living, it's a ridiculous thing because politics is policy and policy is government and government is people. And so everything we do, it's a giant ecosystem that is a endless loop that feeds each other. In fact, if you talk about church and state, the separation, the state usually was the church back in the day. So when who got it right, who was first? Go back far enough, the church typically ran a lot of the state things, and the separation of church and state was actually an idea of the church. So without getting too deep in some of this. I think everybody should be involved in policy because policy affects every aspect of our life, from helping the needy to empowering wealth creation for the organizations and you name it. Like whatever it might do, we have to create the best place for country to. Like we were talking about this on Citizen today, actually.
Spoiler
we're talking
alert.
about yeah, with Bruce Party, brilliant guy, where we were talking about the rule of law. And the rule of law is probably one of the best ways for a country to run. But the only way that works is if the government also answers to the rule of law. And so we have to have a country like one of the questions he asked us was, what's the best scenario if you could create it in a moment? What would Greg want? What would Tim want? What would I want? What would Tamara want? And we answered essentially where we could be the freest and safest, where you have the most freedom and the most safety, which is a combination of what we currently have, but also the government has to answer to the rule of law as well. If the government can bend the rules how they want, well, now you have the opportunity for corrupt people to do what they want because they'll use law as their weapon. So to answer your question very potently, we all should be in policy. I don't care who or where you're from. I think it's a ridiculous thing to tell anyone not to be. And the entire Bible is political. The entire Bible. It is all about interacting in policies. And so there's direct instructions about certain things that people take out of context, I find all the time. And this is the thing too, and this is something I had to come to terms with as becoming a preacher and teacher, is that people will hear what they want to hear. Even in what I just said, they will hear what they want to hear. And That's an unfortunate thing, and I hope that people can objectively look at things. And there's a saying that people often say is like, take what I mean, not what I say.
Yeah.
Right.
And that takes a responsible person to look at that. It's a
Mhm.
difficult place to be, because to perfectly articulate it for every person in every walk of life, no matter if they're 90 years old, 40 years old, 20 years old, or they're going through university, good Lord, like everyone will hear it through the lens that they view life on.
Yeah.
So
We were talking a little bit, and kind of taking this off in a slightly different direction, but we were talking last episode about wanting a government
Mhm.
in place, whether it's Canada, the USA, that aligns to maybe the traditional right of center Christian, quote unquote, Judeo Christian belief system.
Mhm.
And I posed the question that historically,
Mhm.
sometimes the best time of church growth has been when there's been a government place that's
Opposition.
pushed and been opposition.
Mhm.
So my question to you, is it better to have a government that aligns? And I think we all in this room hope for a right of center government in Canada. Is it better
It
to have that
depends.
government and possibly that aligns with us, that we're comfortable? I want to use the word comfortable with.
see, I shy away from even trying to say right or left, because it always evolves and
Right.
changes.
Mhm.
What we currently see as a conservative government used to be a liberal viewpoint back
Right.
in the day. Go back far enough, 50, 60 years. A lot of the conservative values now used to be called liberal back then. So it shifts a lot. And so depending on when you watch this, that changes. And so that's why the rule of law is that's why if you have a free and safe, that's like that, those free allows the freedom to speak, the freedom to associate, to gather, to protest. Like those are all freedoms, fundamental freedoms that should never be negotiable. Like it should be constant. And what that does is that's why I believe in censorship. You'll hear me say censorship is evil.
Right.
If we
Mhm.
were sitting in a room, let's say this room right now, we're in this room together, and you start talking about something, and I go, whoa, no, don't let Tim say that, and I throw a blanket on him. Greg, what do you think about that? Everyone would be like, what was Tim about to say that you were so worried about? Like, you'd be like, what in the world? Don't worry about it. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it. You'd be like, no, I want to worry about it. Why are you hiding that? Like, what does he know that you? So you'd be so concerned, but yet it happens in Canada right now,
Mhm.
and no one thinks anything of it. Like
Yeah.
that's literally happening. If I make it flagrant by showing you here with a blanket on his face, you'd be like, this is weird, but it's happening right now in censorship. So freedom, where conversations can happen, then that's why on Citizen we always say where good ideas rise to the top. If we can talk about everything without worrying about being a political prisoner, you can wrestle with concepts and ideas. Where there's compelled speech, that's a very dangerous place to live. And we live in that in Canada right now. We have compelled speech in Canada.
Yeah.
A lot of people misconstrued that we have the same freedoms as the United States. We don't. They have true freedom of speech. And that's why one of the things you'll see is, I'm going a bit too deep here, is you'll see a lot of people, especially on the conservative side in the US, talk about hate speech is freedom of speech. They'll talk about that. And people will say, you'll see a lot of protests saying, censor hate speech. But that's why hate speech isn't hate speech. There's no such thing as hate speech. There's hateful words, and hateful words is included in free speech. Free speech, you have to give someone the freedom to say something that will offend you deeply, so that we can have a conversation about saying, hey, if this guy keeps saying that, he's not going to be welcome in these circles. But to legislatively restrict that speech, then where does that stop? Will it be on the next religion? Will it be on Christianity? Will it be on Islam? Where are you gonna? Who's gonna do that? And who's the one that says it? So if you let free ideas rise, good conversations happen, and the best ideas win. And I do believe in that situation, Judeo principles will rise up, and those are it's moral based. That's what I believe. But I agree with you. Where opposition has happened, some of the most growth has come from that.
Yeah. One of the things I've noticed recently is the resurrection of the Canadian flag.
Yeah.
You've seen the Canadian flag in front of the Parliament building now.
Hilarious.
Giant.
Yeah.
I remember 2 years ago
Yeah.
when the Canadian flag, if you had a Canadian flag on your
It's
truck,
offensive.
you were offending people.
We were canceling Canada Day celebrations.
We
right?
canceled Canada Day celebrations.
just the
we
funniest thing?
canceled fireworks. And now
It scared the dogs, I think.
Yeah.
the dogs. They do. You got to put a thunder jacket on the dog.
Yeah.
But now people are coming out and shop local, Canadian
Totally.
proud, flags everywhere. They're doing what was done in the January of 2022, I believe, or 2021.
Yeah.
Was it 2022?
Yeah, it was.
What everybody that wanted freedom at that time
Yeah.
was doing and fighting against what was going against people at that time. And now we're fighting against somebody who's not in Canada.
Yeah.
So now it's okay to put up
Yeah.
the Canadian flag. What are your thoughts on that?
All of these things where you see them flip flop like this, where there's you call them a vehicle, maybe of a vehicle to get their point across. There's no weight in any of these things. Like they'll use whatever vehicle they need to get to do whatever they're trying to do, and their virtue signaling is really what they're doing. Is they're trying to say Orange Man in the USA is bad, and he's trying to kill Canada, so Orange Man bad, Canada flag good now. Even though, like just as you said, 24 months ago it was evil, like it was bad. What are you doing with the Canadian flag? How dare you? So I don't give much thought to it. It's just so.
It is interesting though, right?
It is. It's extremely interesting.
It
It's
is.
just
So
it's
funny.
hypocritical, and it goes wherever the wind goes.
Well, now
I
it's
feel.
used to garner votes to
Yes.
stay in office. It's
Yeah.
politicized.
Yes,
right?
for sure. It
Totally.
always is. Yeah. And so I don't give much thought to it. I think it's always going to happen. People are always going to do that. The one thing I'll say right now is I've never seen more people have deeper conversations about Canada than in my lifetime. And people are going, Trump is just such an easy person to vilify, and they're all going after him. And it's like, sure thing. But we're actually making progress here in Canada right now. We're having conversations that need to be had. We're discussing about equalization payments, and Alberta's talking about separation because they don't like what's happening, but that's all spurring conversations to further Canada. And what no one has the guts to say is, thanks, Trump. You're actually, this is the first time I've ever seen people put up a flag in front of their house.
Yeah.
They go in the States and it's everywhere. They know their country and they value their
Like
country.
there's an American flag in front of all their Capitol
Every
buildings. Like
single one.
they are so proud of their country.
So for the
Go to
first time in
Buc-ee's.
my life, in our lives,
Right.
I'm seeing people that are proud to be Canadian and they're saying it for the first time.
Do you
Well,
ever,
we have a friend that's on a cruise right now, and he literally only brought Canadian T-shirts and Canadian hats.
Oh, wow.
no underwear?
And no underwear.
He's got to get a massage. He's
He's getting a massage.
I wanted to,
So before you go into that, just stopping you at that one thing you said about Alberta. Do you ever see Alberta separating?
I don't see it actually happening. I see it as being a catalyst to changing Canada, because
Like a
if
tool.
Alberta does it, if Alberta is very serious and takes those steps to it, it's Canada. I don't think could survive without Alberta.
and
And-
Saskatchewan.
And so I think it'll be the catalyst to true change that we'll see. I don't think, like we talked about this, watch our Citizen podcast. Bruce Party breaks it down in a brilliant way.
Linked below.
He says, like, he literally goes on to say, Canada cannot change unless something so drastic happens like this. It won't happen. The members of parliament are too singularly focused about a bill or a issue at hand,
Right.
and that the whole system's designed this way. Like they're all designed this way. So there's no one that's going to say, "Hey guys, let's save this before." So he put it this way. He said, "We have a managerial government, managing, just managing."
Right.
Which is exactly why we're in the position we're in. Which is why we're not taking advantage of minerals, and we have some of the most beautiful land that could be developed, and which is exactly why Trump's got his eyes on it. It's an incredible thing that's not being taken advantage of properly, not capitalizing on the sheer opportunity we have, especially when you factor in our population. If we were to have 400 million people in this, we'd have a lot less opportunity,
Right.
but we don't. We only have 40 million people.
Yeah.
So we have one of the largest countries in the world,
Yeah.
and only 40 million people in it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
for
true.
sure.
So I want to kind of change topics. We're gonna get out of the political stuff for a few minutes here, and Tamara, I'm gonna ask you a question. So you grew up as a pastor's kid,
Mhm,
and obviously you're gonna grow up in a different way than a lot of other people do.
mhm.
And as the church has grown, it's probably changed your life a lot
Mhm.
since you were really little. But what is something your kids have taught you in faith or leadership that you never expected them to teach you?
Oh my gosh. I think, well, I'm going back to now what I was taught, but I think my kids teach it to me often, is just, as I was growing up, it was never a pressure, like it was never a pressured thing. Like you have to be, like you have to be going to church, and you have to be this, and you have to be reading the word, and you have to be making sure that it's this. It's just to see literally the love that my parents had for it and that my dad had for it was so infectious, that it was something that you wanted to be a part of, and that it was something that you strived for yourself. So I think just seeing my kids create their own relationships with Christ and with church, and how important it is to them in that way,
Mm-hmm.
I just, it's beautiful to see as a parent now. Like, you don't really know until you yourself are going through it with your own children.
Yeah.
But I guess that didn't really answer your question.
No.
But I would say, like, it's beautiful just to see how much it means to my kids, like,
Yeah.
personally for each of them, and to see how the conversations and the questions they have for us and things that they're really trying to figure out for themselves, and
Yeah.
Mhm.
their walk and how they want to do it. And so, like, I'm just grateful that it was never something that was pushed on me or any of my siblings being a PK, just like, people just assuming, like, oh, you were forced in this life, like, you don't know any different, like, you don't know. And, like,
Mhm.
yes, of course, growing up, I probably did have a bit more of a sheltered life than a lot of people.
Right.
Mhm.
But I'm very grateful for the life that I had, and I don't think I missed anything. I don't think I didn't miss out on all these phases that people talk about sometimes. I'm so glad that this is the walk
Mhm.
of life that I've had, and it's made me stronger, and it's made my life in a way where I'm just so appreciative to look back and see all that we have been through and what
Right.
we've
For
done.
sure.
Yeah.
So, I think just seeing just the love of God from my kids and how they're experiencing it is
Yeah.
really cool.
That's awesome.
And it's not like what people think of PK, like, I
Yeah.
just laugh sometimes when I hear that term, because to be honest, like, as much as I was a PK, I didn't feel like I was a PK. Like, it was
Mhm.
just life and every day. And we loved going to church and staying there late all night and running around the seats and through the halls. Like, those are some of the best memories that I have. Is church for us is just
Mhm.
always been family.
Yeah.
Like, that's just what it has been. So
And you were like saturated in it,
totally.
and the Spear Contemporary, the way that your father used to
Yeah.
speak about it, right? You're spiritual but contemporary at the
Yeah.
same time, so that you can actually be out in the world. And it's one thing to, know what you know, but to present it in a way
Yeah.
that is relatable to everybody
Yeah.
else, right? And to make sure that you're not, pushing people away
Totally.
from it, right?
And I think watching my dad do it was seriously a true testament to just how I literally was like, man, like, I hope I'm like that when I do that. And I think people just, well, maybe not, but sometimes the questions you hear from people sometimes are funny, like as if my dad would walk up to someone and just start preaching at them right away. And that was not what he did. If anything, he was the polar opposite.
Complete
And he would,
opposite.
like,
Yeah.
crack a joke and make fun of their name on their name tag if we were in, like, a grocery store or a restaurant, and break the ice. And he would just be like, what was your name? I don't know, Edna. And she's like, no, it's and then there would be just this comfortableness
Yeah.
where he'd instantly
For sure,
just
yeah.
make her feel like, okay,
There's a
like, I
comfort.
see you, and, like,
Yeah.
this, like, you are. So just to see that, and how instantly people got so comfortable with my dad that they appreciated that he just cared, that
Right.
he
Yeah.
took that moment to just say hello, how are you, how is your day going,
Yeah.
and that is now one thing that I literally strive to do all the time, no
Yeah.
matter where I am. I just want to make sure that I am truly showing kindness,
Right.
even in the littlest ways.
Absolutely,
Just going out of your way and just saying, like, how is your day? Has it been long? Has it been busy? Well, I hope you have a great rest of your day,
Yeah.
or whatever it is. And
Yeah, that's
or
fantastic.
just little things like that.
So,
But,
so one of the messages that stuck out the most from Leon was the blueprint message. And just talking about what comes out is built. You both had great parents,
Mhm.
raised great families, and when you are come together and have your own family, that blueprint kind of
Mhm. Yeah.
shows up. Did
So cool.
anything, maybe even non-spiritually, surprise you becoming parents? You have young children. When you're actually going through that, or was it pretty much, yeah, this is how my parents did it, this is how I do it because I saw them do X, Y, Z?
mm. um I don't know. Like, I don't think anything, like, shocked me as to,
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, like, what are we doing? Like, what do we do here? I do think I definitely leaned on my parents a little bit more with certain things. I'd be like, oh my gosh, like, what did you do with this? Or what about this?
Yeah.
And so in that way, but I don't think there was anything that was, like, caught us off
I was, like,
guard.
freaked out to become a dad
A
at first,
parent.
even though I wanted to be a dad. Actually, it was you. I don't know if you remember this.
I do. I do.
You were like the catalyst to finally get me over the threshold to start trying to have a kid. Did I tell you that? Did you know that?
Yes, you did tell me that.
At family camp. Yeah, anyway, I guess I could tell the story. we were how old were we? Like 20. We're not young, lower 20s, and
Married already,
married.
obviously. Okay.
And and then you finally sat down next to me and said, so what are you waiting for? Like, you guys gonna have kids soon? I was like, yeah, eventually. And he's like, eventually when? And you're like, I was like, when are we saving up money? You're like, how much money? And I'm like, I don't know, like
He's very blunt with these
10,000-ish. You're like,
questions.
10,000 and what? How much? And I was like, I don't know, Tim. Like, leave me alone. I was like, I have no idea. And then, but then you literally went like, man, like that threshold's always going to change. It's always going to move. When you can't get back the time. And like, you hit me like a truck, man. Like that whole night I was thinking about it. And like, I was like, yeah, what am I waiting for? What amount of money am I waiting for? Like, I don't know. Like if it is 10,000, then a car bill comes up and then it's gone. No, we can't be at that anymore. Like, you know, that target was always moving and I was moving it without knowing. And that was a huge moment in my life. Yeah.
And this is why I go on so many trips.
Yeah.
Because Tim comes up to me and goes, hey, we're going to go on a cruise. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Well, when will you go on a cruise? And I'm like, well, I don't know.
When's that actually gonna
then
happen?
let's just plan it now.
I love
let's
that,
just book it
though.
now.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's
You
cool.
miss out on so many things when you don't do
There's
that.
a lot of stuff that I've
Yeah.
done just because Tim has done that exact conversation with me. And he's very blunt about
But I
it.
think
No,
I
it's good.
loved growing up. We like seeing how like my parents had us young too, and just you keep doing life with your kids. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? There's not like,
That's the biggest thing.
I think there's still
Gosh.
some things obviously where people are like, but I just want to do this one trip before I have to like settle down and
Right.
stay at home. And it's like, okay, there's a period of time where yes, things change and your life changes when kids get into the mix. But I think the one thing I love is that like you and I are very much, we just live our lives with our kids. Like but no matter what we do.
and with the discomfort that comes with it.
Yeah,
Like,
you just got to know that life isn't going to be the same as far as like, oh, good, we get our quiet time, maybe a nap here and there, and we'll just enjoy this trip like this. It's like, whatever, the memories come out of the chaos and the fun.
You almost embrace the
Absolutely.
chaos.
Totally.
Absolutely
you
they
just have
do.
to know that that's what it's going to be with children. And that's not to say all the time. I think no matter what, it's just fun to bring your kids along for
Right.
the
Sure.
ride. Like that's what it is.
And Greg has FOMO. It doesn't take much to get him to go on any kind of cruise. I had a follow-up question, just one more follow-up question on parenting. Your parents did not have the ills of social media on a tablet or phone or whatever it is that your kids now are going into in their stretch of life that you went through without that. What are some challenges in navigating your kids through that social media universe of 2025?
It's a great point. I think the first battlefield is their identity at the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. They say a child's identity is formed before the age of 5, is what they say. Like there's Gaber Mates has an incredible book. I think it's Gaber Mates where it says how to hang on to your children. Amazing read, amazing book. And he talks all about there, like you have a window of time to teach them how to be decent human beings, and it's usually before them turning 4. And then when you're referring to their identity, it's 5. So it's a small window,
Right.
Like it's a really small window. And so like in those first few years, if you can get their identity solid before they turn 5, you're gonna have a much better fight, I think, with social media and those types of things, because the social media attacks all the same things. It's identity, it's sexuality. And actually, I'd say probably that's about it. All of them fall into those 2 categories. You're not good enough, or you or even in the positive, you're so great. Wow, look at you. You're more handsome or pretty than the other. All identity. So if you can get those 2 things figured out as best you can in the early ages, you're gonna have a better. We're gonna minimize social media as much as we possibly can, as late as we possibly can.
I think also it's sad that we're in a day and age where like kids aren't kids anymore. Like I swear these children are like miniature adults
Right.
who can sit down and have a conversation with you. And I'm like, you're a kid. Go play. Go have some fun. So in that way, I think we very much protect our kids, and I want my kids to be kids. Like go have a fun childhood.
Let
like,
them be bored enough to sort out how to not be bored anymore.
Yeah.
Like most people, they give a device constantly
And
to do
just
that.
because other people are allowing their kids to do things or watch things or have a, like we get all the same questions too. Like our daughter's 11 and she's like, when am I going to get a phone? And when am I? I'm like, well, you're not, honey. So don't
We've said the same
expecting
thing
it
for my
anytime
son.
soon. So, and to be honest, I I don't think I got a phone until I was like 15 or 16, a cell phone. And even then it was for like safety. Like it was like,
Emergency.
here, these are your parents'
Yeah, yeah.
It was
numbers.
a flip
You were
phone.
It was a flip
Well,
phone.
they didn't have no
It was
Snapchat.
a flip, which you know what? I think we will be giving.
I know. I was gonna say a flip phone.
Yeah.
I'm probably
we
leaning
have
towards
flip
that.
phones, and we literally say to her like, "You'll be getting a flip phone probably from
Yeah.
mom
Yeah.
and dad when she is old enough to all of a sudden like babysit or
Yeah,
go.
you need
do
to make a phone
something.
call. That's
Totally.
a way to make.
But
a phone
I
call.
think it's just sad that it's come to a point now where I just feel like kids aren't really kids anymore.
Right,
And
for sure.
Yeah.
they're just So I think in that way, of course, I want to protect our children to just enjoy their childhood and be
Yeah.
children.
Yeah,
Awesome answer.
we're gonna get into a couple fun things because we know we want to respect your guys' time.
no,
How much
okay.
we have here.
That's great.
One thing though that came to mind as we were talking, because you were talking about how your dad like very easily talked to people.
Yeah.
And we had a men's breakfast back a few years ago, and me and Tim were sitting there, and this is when Tim didn't have a beard and I did have a beard, and Jeremy has a beard. So we're gonna ask.
Our last few guests, we haven't had
ask-
any clean shaven guests.
I don't
or-
think people are clean shaven anymore. I think honestly we're all
You have
bearded these
beards.
days.
Yeah.
The question that we posed to your dad, and this was before he grew his beard,
Yes.
was he just grew his beard.
Well,
It
we
was-
post to everybody.
It was when he had grown his beard, so we could ask him this question: do I have a beard and a mustache, or a beard?
And no one's ever
So-
agreed with me
so
on my
Tim
my-
can't give the answer.
No, that's
Stop
fine.
giving your answer. I'd like to
So,
ask Jeremy.
about
No, no.
you or
No,
me or
all-
him
all-
or
all
us?
three
Well,
of
the
us.
question is,
Do we have a beard?
Is this a beard and a mustache combination, or is this just one big beard?
I know my answer.
We'll
Do
give
you want to
it.
give it?
Yes.
Do you want hers first?
No, it's fine.
Go ahead.
Beard.
Okay,
It's a beard.
and everyone has agreed with that.
And
Yeah.
Tamara,
This is a beard. It's like
it's one piece.
I lean
Yes.
towards a beard.
Right.
Yeah.
And everyone says that my argument is two things can be true at one time. And you can say that, but this just because this is a beard doesn't have
Doesn't
this.
not
This
make
is still
that.
a mustache.
I get that.
Two things are true. At
Would
one
you say that your husband has a mustache?
No.
time.
No,
okay, What's that
exactly.
on his? What's that above his
No,
lip?
That's
he does.
the upper beard.
but a
It's not the
mustache is
upper
not a
beard.
mustache until it's alone,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well.
right?
Yeah,
If it
Ask
connects. If it
ChatGPT.
connects.
yeah.
No, don't ask ChatGPT.
Gotta ask it.
You love ChatGPT.
I love it, man. Why not?
Would you want to do the game?
We're gonna do
makes
the game in a
mustache
sec, yeah.
mustache?
No, don't.
It's okay.
Let's just see what it says. What makes a mustache a mustache? Great question. And both mustache British and two different versions of it. American placement. It's the hair that grows only above the upper lip, between the
Okay.
nose and mouth. It doesn't include the beard, chin, or
Okay,
sideburns.
so that is a mustache.
Def-
I'm
definition
right.
by contrast.
ChatGPT says
If
I'm
you
correct.
shave your chin and cheeks but leave the hair above the lips, it's a mustache. Once you connect it to the
Okay,
beard
so
or
it's the
goatee, it's
connection.
part of the broader facial hairstyle,
So I'm wrong.
like
That's
Van
okay.
Dyke or full
But-
beard. Culturally, it just keeps going on.
I get that. I get that.
So you're
though.
wrong.
I get that.
I'm wrong.
I like that you said.
right.
I
I
agree
thought it
with
was
the
right.
fact that two things can be right at once. That gets me. closer.
ChatGPT does agree with you, so I guess I'm wrong.
Okay.
I admit that live on
So I got to get the
Taped
props for this
television.
game.
Yeah, so
So we're voting.
So this game, and you guys might be familiar with this game. This is called the shoe game.
shoe
Okay.
game without shoes.
Without shoes.
I said to get flip flops. He said you don't want to hold other people's flip flops in your hands. Hence why you have Barbies and hockey sticks.
Okay.
Okay.
Barbies and
And
hockey.
Elsa. Is that Elsa or Anna?
So does this represent
Elsa.
Tamara? This
Elsa.
represents Jeremy.
Elsa in Anna's
Yes,
dress.
this is-
Oh,
Okay.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I did
Yeah.
notice that. I thought it was Anna because of the dress, but yes, you're right.
So basically, the hockey stick represents Jeremy.
okay.
The Barbie represents you.
Okay.
Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna ask some questions, and we want you to answer as quickly as possible because you guys can kind of
Try
see
not
each
to
other.
might
look because you're traditionally you're back to back, so you
Got it.
don't see what
Yeah.
other people say. So try not to look peripheral
Okay.
to your
This
left.
is
I will
the
answer
first time
quick.
we've
She
ever
will be
played this
slow.
game
I'm
on the show.
Okay.
So I like the comment. I usually tell this to my wife. I'm like, so should we do this or this or this? And she's like, oh, should you overthink it for a minute? And
Well, she
she's
said
like-
she was the overthinker.
I am the overthinker.
You're both
I love
kind of.
that.
Are you both kind of overthinkers?
No, I'm not at all.
I get into it too. Yeah, I'll
Okay.
get into my head. I was just doing the disc test
Yeah.
the other day.
We did a test yesterday,
Well, what are
and
you
it was
doing?
Not
We just did
yesterday.
this also.
Oh, disc?
We could go.
Oh, yeah.
Elevate.
I'm-
At Elevate, yeah, we
I'm
did
an
it too.
ID.
I'm in
Okay.
DI.
Well, There you go.
So it's very,
That's
but
funny.
as I was doing the test, I did it myself. And then I was like, so what do you think? And I started listing all the things to him because I needed to know what he thought.
I know.
too,
I was like,
just in
that's not how
case.
this works.
And then you have those
But-
questions where none of them fit. And then
Yes.
the other questions where 3 of them
And-
fit.
and then she's
that's what I
overthinking
said.
all of
What
it,
if
and
I
I'm
think
like,
I'm 3
Yeah.
of them? Like,
You got to pick one.
anyways,
Yeah.
but yes.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Ready to go?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the questions they're just going to come as quickly as we can go here. Who is more likely to forget an important date?
Oh,
Who is the stricter parent?
really?
This is why we had to do it back to back normally.
That's what I'm
Let's
saying.
close our eyes then. Why don't we close our eyes?
No,
I'll close my eyes.
That's
I don't
fine.
know.
who
Okay, yes.
who falls asleep first?
Oh,
Who
Well, we
is more,
figured that out at the beginning of the show.
who is more likely to cry at an emotional movie?
I've never cried in a movie in my life.
No?
Not one movie.
Wow.
You want to know the closest time? And this is
Yeah.
so embarrassing
Yeah.
and lame.
Do it.
why?
Armageddon of all movies.
Oh, yeah. Is it?
Well, you were
When he
young.
comes,
It's
when
very
he,
emotional.
when he rips his oxygen out of his tank, AJ's like, and then AJ's like, what's his name?
I think it's because you
What's
become.
AJ's
I think it's because you become a
yeah,
dad.
for the,
Yeah.
for the dad lights. He
Then
saves
it
him and he
changes.
sacrifices. Oh man, that got me close.
Yeah.
Really close. Yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
Who is more likely to start a spontaneous dance party with the kids?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. And goes with the singing, I guess.
Who
Yeah.
is more likely to be running late?
You can't. I would say that is
I was
both
gonna say
of
it's
us.
both.
Well, on Sunday it was Jeremy, but
Yeah.
anyway.
No, you want to know
would-
why?
you would be
There's a
su-
reason for
You
that.
would be surprised. Jeremy does like you do run late here and there. I'd say more than what people would think. I think you put it on me
You
a lot,
hide
but it's
it.
not me a lot.
Something you didn't know about
It's not,
Jeremy. We
it's
got
not
it.
me a lot.
Jeremy
but-
hasn't even told us something we don't know about
That's
Tamara,
okay.
but she's going to keep
Oh,
on
yeah.
piling.
Yeah,
She's going to
we're
keep
getting
piling
there.
it
We're
on.
getting there.
Two things so far we've learned.
It's funny.
You got
What?
the next one?
Who
Oh, I thought
talks
you were
during a
gonna say
meeting?
something. Who talks
More
Who talks
during a
more
meeting.
during a meeting?
Work or like
Work.
Like
let's
if
say
you're
work.
in a meeting, who
Yeah.
talks more?
Oh,
Who is more adventurous?
really?
Yeah. Our first disagreement. That's good. That's good. Who's more organized?
Oh.
Who is more likely to come up with a big idea but not follow through?
Oh, another
I would say so.
disagreement. Who is more likely to volunteer for something last minute?
Got some splits. Who is more comfortable speaking in front of a large crowd?
For sure.
Who is more likely to strike up a deep conversation with a stranger?
Who is more likely to break out in song during church?
During church? Yeah, I'd say you.
Really? And you sing with the praise and worship
but I'm
team.
not like
I just
what he feels. He's like, yeah, this is the moment.
The wind.
I'm gonna.
I'll
where the
change.
wind
I'll change
takes
with the
him.
wind. Yeah.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Who said I love you first?
I think it was me.
Going
Yeah,
deep
it
here.
was you.
Yeah.
Who's the better driver?
Okay, I have to.
Oh
This is a
my
debate
lord!
all the time.
Are you kidding me?
You know I love to drive. and
Love to drive and
no,
being
I'm
good
a
are different.
Very good driver. I'm a very good driver.
No, but
You
the
know
point-
you might be a good
Okay,
better, the
but
better
better
driver.
than me. No way. I was born to be a race car driver. I believe.
It also doesn't mean
Listen,
you're a good
listen.
driver.
No,
just because
no.
you're a race car driver.
Yes.
No.
No.
If you're a race car driver, you have to be really
I
good
would
at driving.
say we're pretty
I believe
even.
in my core. Like
I
I
would
can.
say we're
I've
pretty
never been
even.
beat at any go-kart place I've ever
is my
gone to.
favorite
Again,
I
a
just-
fast driver is not necessarily a
No, but
good
yeah,
driver.
but it means you
F1
know how to
driver.
balance, how to steer, how to turn, how to weight
I
shift,
just beat you
when to
in-
gas, when to brake.
I
I mean,
just beat
yeah,
you
you
in
have
Mario
in a go kart.
Kart
You got to
the other
weight shift.
night.
You have to lean your body.
I just beat you in Mario Kart the other night, and you were a pretty poor loser at it.
I've
Well,
never.
that's probably
met-
because he didn't have to weight shift.
Yeah.
You wanna pull
I'm
Okay.
ridiculously good
You're
at American.
a good driver, but you
So
have
wait
to.
until the argument's
You're
over.
a good driver, but you have to admit I am a very good driver.
No, but
Even
better.
said
That wasn't
that.
the question,
better.
though.
The question is better.
I'm just gonna answer the question. I'm staying in the lane.
He's staying in his lane.
Which makes him a better driver.
Yeah.
I still stand by my decision.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it's me.
What are you talking
What?
about?
Oh.
Who
Smoke.
takes longer to get ready?
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Who is
wait,
more-
I'm gonna add to that question.
Okay, go ahead.
Who takes longer to do their hair?
I have so
Okay.
much more of it.
Just checking. Just
Wow.
because Jeremy's
You-
hair is
But
always
you know what?
always
I should
perfect.
say
It's a cut
he
every
does.
2 weeks.
He does take a lot of time on his hair.
Oh
So
my
I'm gonna
word,
say,
guys.
like,
Yeah.
obviously it is me, but
Do you groom your
do.
beard and mustache combination?
I keep it
Not
straight. I try to keep it
really.
straight. I use gel in it sometimes.
You got to get that cream,
Yeah.
the
I
beard
don't-
cream.
Mine like gets like I don't put any creams on it because it gets itchy, super itchy. So I
Oh.
just like I
Yeah,
just
that
use
is a-
gel.
That is a
Sensitive.
problem. Who is more likely to leave dishes in the sink?
That's
Yeah.
the worst, right? And last is who is the better cook?
For
Wow.
sure, no question. I'm the
Awesome.
better at ordering skip the dishes. That's what I do.
Yeah. You do.
If they, I wish that they had. Actually, no, it's probably be embarrassing. Like status levels for. I was like, I'd be pretty high up there.
You have like
I order
platinum.
a lot. Yeah, for sure.
You know,
Yeah,
you
I
got
have
your
priority status.
air
That's
miles. You
that's
got
very
your.
embarrassing.
I know it is for sure. I order a lot.
So,
a lot.
so we're done all of our questions. You
Okay.
guys have been awesome. Do you have anything at all? about
Mine,
what
I
we
was trying to
don't
think
know?
of something goofy, funny, and that's why I was like so hesitant about it. But like something I'll say, so it's not like you're gonna all the guys will be like, "Gee,
Tamara's like
of course, he's building brownie points." But
I was like, I don't know where you're going right
no,
now.
I was trying to think of like something like funny, goofy. But the thing that stands out to me though, and this is something I've never seen in anyone, is that you have like she has an insane capacity for like getting something done or finished across the finish line. Like so like for example, the last two times we've moved, I've either been sick, like really, really sick. One time I was actually went in the hospital and she moved the entire house and got it all packed and done in like 48 hours flat while being a mom of 3 kids. And I was in the hospital. Like Leon actually took me to the hospital, and long story short. But then the second time, this last time, I was on a trip to Dallas. And anyway, so if there's a task at hand, she will not sleep. She will get it done. She'll figure it out. She won't complain. I've never seen anybody have that kind of capacity. It kind of comes from your dad, I feel like. You and your dad had like an insane depth that they could pull on that is like inhuman. And I'm not even exaggerating. I mean it. There'll be times when we have to like, fly the next morning and do something like this. And she'll be up till 4:30 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to be up at 6. And she'll get 60 minutes and be ready before me. She'll wake up before me and she'll be ready. And then like bags loaded, ready to go. And I'm racing to keep up with her. I'm like, you got an hour of sleep. I don't know how you're doing this. That's something I've never seen before. And she's got that. So I didn't mean to make it so like, I was trying to think of something goofy, but that's
Does that mean
something.
I need to go serious now too.
No, you don't need to at all. No. But I mean,
He's just making up for the whole
Thank
driving
you.
thing.
Yeah.
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 The driving
I've seen
debacle.
it. I've just never seen it before. Like it's next level.
That's
Next
very
level.
kind. Thank you, honey.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Wanna
What are your
divvy it
favorite?
up, maybe?
What are your
One
favorite
here,
3
one
places to
there.
go on a date?
Thermia,
in-
I love Thermia because it's just you check out. And the thing I love the most about it is like I love the like hot baths and chilling and relaxing, especially if you can. It's actually warm enough.
Yeah, if you
chill
get your
outside.
underwear off.
But I love the like leaving the phone in the locker, like unplugging.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. We've done that quite a bit. We really enjoy that.
What else? We love a good restaurant, but I'd say we really love good movies
Yeah,
too.
we're
We're theater
movie
people.
Yeah, big
so
time.
we enjoy the
We go
whole
all out with it
yeah.
too. Like
popcorn,
everything you can imagine. I'm sometimes embarrassed how much crap I'm bringing into the theater.
Jeez.
Like armor's full.
Do you buy concession or you sneak all
Everything.
your food in?
No,
there?
no, we
No,
buy it all.
It's underneath your
now I
jacket.
think we go sneak. I
you
remember
got a couple
back in the
chocolate
day
bars.
when you weren't allowed to bring anything. Do
I
you
don't
remember
Yeah.
that?
plan for
I would
nothing,
hide a ton of stuff in my.
I don't plan for none of it.
My kids bring backpacks to movies
That's
now.
So something we didn't
genius.
know also, the funny thing about Tamara, she would sneak whole
Yeah, is that
tubs
bad?
of groceries under her dress going
Bags
to the
of candy.
theater.
Just giant bags. Genre
That's
movie
funny.
that you guys go to?
We're all over the
Anything.
place.
Yeah.
I feel like we like you and I both seem to like good intense movies though.
Everything
Like action?
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, more action. I'd
Yep.
say we both really like.
I'm such a fan of everything Christopher
Yeah,
Nolan
you are.
makes. Gosh,
Interstellar is one of our
obsessively.
favorite.
Inception,
movies.
Interstellar.
You love
gosh.
Did you
Inception.
say Christian Bale?
No, Christopher Nolan.
Christopher Nolan.
Director.
Oh, okay. Christian Bale's in a lot of Christopher
Yes, he
Nolan,
is. Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's kind of
Batman.
goes in hand there.
So Thermea, the
Movies.
movies.
And what's your favorite restaurant?
You know what? Here in Winnipeg, we really like Hearth.
Yeah, Hearth is
Yeah.
great.
And
Have
we
you guys been there?
just
I
Yeah.
have not.
It's
It's closed
very
on Mondays and
Very good.
Sundays.
Oh. And we just went to this French restaurant with friends called
Highs.
Sous-Sol. Not
No,
Highs.
but Highs is mine.
Hi-yas. I don't know. Something French.
Sous-Sol. Did you
like it
it?
that much?
I
though?
liked it. What do you
Like, did you like the
mean?
experience that much?
Well,
Or
it
the
is an
food, so-
experience.
The company
This is a
was
rave
good. I don't-
review for
I don't-
Soul.
No.
It's
and
kinda
let me be clear. The restaurant's great, but
Yeah.
it's like I wouldn't.
The food was
I
great,
wouldn't be
too.
like on our next date. Let's go there.
You're talking to a guy. You put a steak on his plate.
Yes.
He's
I know,
totally
I've had
happy
lunch
and
with him. I will-
fine. So
I'll eat
Twice
steak
at Highs.
5 days a week.
Highs is great.
And it's funny because I had lunch with him and I've still seen steaks on
Steak?
his plate.
I know.
Love steak.
It's ridiculous.
So that's why Highs. Like,
Okay.
oh man, Mm.
Good steak. We got to
So
put a
good.
good steak.
That's
in
Have
there.
you been to 529?
Yep.
Yeah.
I like
Better
Highs,
th-
I like Highs better.
You like Highs better?
Yeah.
And what about Ray and Jerry's?
I've
it was
never
all right.
been.
You
I
have to go.
I went. I
You
went
should
with
feel.
all the brothers, and
I've never been.
our food was not very good.
All right.
No?
Well, there you
Our
go.
food was
Try it again.
It's got
Yeah,
a
maybe I should
different
try again. I have heard
atmosphere.
awesome things about it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love the style. I love the look. The service was amazing. I just think we caught it on maybe a bad night. I don't
All
know.
right.
You are you're too particular about your meat though. For our wedding last story, I'm the one
It
that
doesn't have
planned
to
it
be your
all.
last story.
Well,
It's all right.
I planned it all to a T,
Yeah.
picked the food, sat
We
down,
planned it.
ate, picked all these
Well-
dishes, and I picked an amazing dish. It was a chicken dish, but it was still very, very good. And then on the wedding day, Jeremy changed it last minute and
Changed my dish last
asked
night.
them to make him a steak instead.
Fair enough.
And
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
did
right?
not
Thank you.
like it. He got
didn't
it
like the
and
steak.
Oh, it
it
backfired.
was not what he thought.
didn't go well.
And so
Well, they should have cooked it.
now I
Well, you had a steak that was cooked by
now I
a...
always
I'm-
say don't get steak unless you're in Alberta.
Except for 529 Highs.
Except for
Exactly.
Highs is man, ribeye or like bone in. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So, last question, or maybe the
are
second
you
last
gonna
question.
change it to
No,
what I,
like,
want it to be?
No, I
or-
like
Okay.
I like my question.
likes
It gives
his
more
version
variety.
Okay.
The one
It's
person,
his question. I let him ask it.
dead or alive, could be historical, could be personal,
Oh, it's so easy.
that you could choose to have a 20-minute conversation with.
20, man.
This is for both of you.
so tough.
Who would it be?
Jesus. Like, and I just.
And you
I'm-
can't choose Jesus. That is part of the rule.
Oh.
Yes.
and the
my
reason
gosh.
why
Okay, well
is
that
because
changes
Jesus
everything.
is with us at all times.
I know, but I still have questions.
There's some questions.
They're all answered.
So not Jesus. Interesting.
By the way, that's the number one. That's
Of
why
course.
we see it.
Jesus.
Can't,
For sure.
It's
Yeah.
most times they say that.
Who would you pick? I'd probably pick Paul.
Well,
So
I don't know.
interesting.
If we were going sentimental,
Or
I would take
Moses.
my dad in a heartbeat. So
Yeah, for sure.
and I think we wrestle with that all the time where you
Yeah.
just will be going through something or you're just like, I just want his opinion right
Oh, I
now,
know,
you
all the
know?
time.
Yeah,
and
for
you
sure.
just want to have that quick conversation to just get his side of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I would say him.
I
Awesome.
think he'd be mad at me if I said him.
You'd
He'd be like,
mad?
"You could have picked anyone,
Well,
and you picked
obviously.
me." He'd
Well,
be
I'm
like,
just saying it
he'd
depends.
start listing
could
off
have
all the
picked-
people, and
you
he'd
could
get
have
mad at
picked-
me.
in your head. As
No, I
to
know.
How far
I'm
we
just saying.
take
I feel like
this.
he'd be like, "Why you me, man?" Like he'd be, but also at the same time, you're right. I have a folder in my book that I had with him all the time, where it'd be questions for Leon that I would always ask him all the time.
Yeah.
And after he passed, the folder's still there, and so I obviously can't ask him anymore. But I still go through the exercise of going to that folder because it gives me the clarity of the thinking process of what he would say if I had that meeting with him.
Yeah.
And it almost feels like therapeutical too. Like it feels like this like moment where it feels like the meetings, I can still kind of have the meeting in my head. It's kind of
Yeah.
cool. It's very cool actually. Because he spent so much time teaching us that you get an idea of how he thinks.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And and
Yeah.
it's very cool.
One of the
fantastic.
great things about your dad is that we have all of this stuff to look
Oh,
back
for
on.
sure.
And if you want to learn what he thinks about
Oh, yeah.
something,
I'm
you
so
can
grateful
probably
for that.
Google
Yeah.
A lot of
Google a
people
lot of it,
don't
right?
have
I do it almost every day.
Yeah.
I'm watching one
No
of his
matter
videos
what,
almost every
yeah,
day.
we're listening to his messages pretty
All
often.
the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's, well, here we go. We keep talking, but I think that's what I so appreciate is just the way he spoke, and he was so about the word of God and that it is literally timeless. Like
Mhm.
no, like we were just listening to a message of his that was like almost 20 years ago, and you could literally pertain it to what we're doing right now in our life,
Right.
to a moment where you just get like a revelation of like, oh my gosh, like that is so good. And I appreciate that, is that it truly stands the test of time. Every time you
Yeah,
watch one of
for sure.
those, you're just like, I could, no matter where you are, this could be from when you heard it that last time or even now.
Yeah.
It changes you. So
I don't think I really answered your question. It'd be either Moses or Paul, I think. And the reason for that is, in my opinion, Moses is like, when you think about what he went through and dealing with identity issues, not having a parents, and then becoming Egyptian, being adopted and in their place and dealing with what he dealt with to become one of the greatest leaders, to lead millions, to be anointed by God, and all these things. When you watch the story, I see that I'm like, he's one of the most brilliant, but then also so human, even in the struggle with the judges, when he would try to make all the decisions himself and then to appoint the judges to actually relieve his ability. Like, you just see the human side of his struggle, but also to be as brilliant as he was and to be used by God that way. I think there's so many parallels in that. And so I study Moses a lot because I find it so fascinating how he was the leader he was. So that's probably my answer. What would you guys pick?
So as you were talking about that for a second, I was just thinking, who would I be able to get the most
I know.
like
20 minutes.
coolest
I know,
story
it is.
from
It's
too?
I know.
And I think of the 3 men in the fire.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Yeah, and I didn't want to say the names because I thought I was going to screw them up.
Ah.
So I know the song, but when you think about when they went in the fire,
There's 4 in the fire, but yeah.
and there's 4 in the fire, right? And they came out, and like, can you imagine talking to them
Totally.
after
I
that,
know.
Totally.
and getting
100%.
some like faith-filled knowledge from what they
There's
went
so
through.
many, like, if
That's
we
such
should
a
have said a
good
Bible
answer.
for someone from the Bible, because you could just, like, yeah, like in my head, there's so many people you're like,
That's why I
could
say
you
Leon
imagine?
would be mad. But you're right. Like, that story is so
And
amazing.
reliving
Because you
something like
realize
that.
how committed they were. They were ready to die. Like,
Yeah,
anybody who's in that mindset where they're ready to die for what they believe, like,
Mhm.
oh man,
Mhm.
like, and their faith was like completed at the moment of no return.
yeah.
That's when it was like,
Yeah.
wow, it was.
I feel like doing something non-biblical because I'm like I'm a counterist.
Yes.
Where it's like
Yes.
everyone's
Yes.
picking
No,
Bible
and
characters.
Oh, you're right.
think
You're right.
I like going
I'm
down
picking
that
Abraham
route
Lincoln.
too. Yes, that's
But didn't you pick Abe
cool.
Lincoln?
That's cool.
I don't know.
I like that
Honest
answer.
Abe.
I like that answer.
Non-biblical.
That's a great answer.
Anyway,
Martin Luther King would be really cool.
Yes.
Martin Luther
Yeah.
King.
Like,
Yeah.
to see the opposition of what he was facing and not to even see it to the end.
Yeah.
He didn't know he wouldn't see it to the end, but to see the vision that man had, holy man, like, that's
That is really
like, yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah. So we do have one last question,
Okay.
and this is our last question of the show, and then you guys are free. What is one piece of advice that you would give your kids today if you can only give them one piece of advice? What would that be?
Biblical or unbiblical?
You can give them any piece of advice you want, but this is the one that you want them to.
If
to
you
take
give
with
them one piece of biblical advice, you need to give them also a practical.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
That's my stipulation.
I read a book. I just try and keep it short. I read a book called Life's 20 Greatest Lessons by Hal Urban.
Okay.
And after reading that book, I went, I want to write this book for my children. Like, I want to write a book like this for my children. And if anyone hasn't read that book, such a great book. I've probably given that book away to more people than any other book I've ever given. I literally bought, I think, 15 copies just to hand out because it impacted me that much. Biblical, non-biblical. I think if I could teach my kids, like, you have to view yourself the way God views you, like, and that just sounds so okay. But if that becomes real to you, you start to realize how insanely precious you are to God, like,
Mhm.
and then you can't help but see that on everyone else, and then that's the only and then you become immune to life that way. Stuff's not as important to you, and so if you could understand how to intrinsically value you are biblically through God's eyes, everything else will follow. Everything else. I mean that, like, identity, who your spouse should be, because you value yourself. Everything else follows.
Right.
Everything follows. Your work ethic, your self-respect, your everything follows. So that'd be the biblical one. Non-biblical, I'd say, don't take life so seriously. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about that too quickly.
Drive fast.
These are two.
Non-biblical.
I like don't take yourself so seriously. Take what you're doing
that's a
seriously.
huge one.
But
Like,
don't take
yeah,
yourself
like,
so
I think
seriously.
the funnest moments of our family is when just we're just loose and fun, and just things aren't perfect.
Yeah.
It's like the messiness of life if you can find the fun and joy in it.
I think I like that. It's just like life doesn't
It's
need to
just-
be perfect. There doesn't need to
it
be
never
a
will be.
set,
Yeah.
just
Yeah, it never will be.
try to enjoy the road that you're on, but
Like I've been my most miserable in the pursuit of my goals.
Mhm.
Like it's always you that has kept me grounded in this. I'm so target oriented that I will kill myself trying to get to these goals. And then it's her that grounds me, going like, it's in between the goals that matters. Like
Mhm.
that's where life is. It's in between the goals. And if you don't know that, you miss all of life. And most of us do. Most of us miss life.
I think like, just focus and love what you're doing now and don't lose sight of what is happening now
Yeah.
instead of trying to live in
Yeah.
the future of things.
Don't always look to tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
appreciate
Live
today.
today.
Live today. I guess that's like one
That's
of the
good.
classic lines, but truly it is. It's like
Yeah.
just live today.
Mhm.
But
I love it.
Awesome.
Well, thanks for coming, both of
Thank
you.
you.
It's been
Thanks for having us.
fantastic. We
Thanks for
really
nailing it down.
appreciate all your answers. It's been a fantastic interview.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed
5
myself.
different directions. It was great.
yeah.
No, I love it.
We enjoyed it too. Thank
And
you.
that's
Thank you for having us. It was a lot
Yeah.
of fun.
so. Don't forget to like, subscribe,
Share, comment.
and all the fun things,
Hit the bell.
and hit the
Yeah.
bell. Hit the bell. We never say hit the bell.
Oh, hit the bell's everything. People need to hit that little bell next to subscribe.
So they're
'cause it
notified.
notifies you when they're posted. And the reason you subscribe is because you like it. Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
preaching now, but
No, no. When Mario
the bell.
Andretti says something, you need to listen.
That's right.
Hit the bell.
Anyways, thanks for watching the Greg and Tim show, and don't forget, Tim is I don't know what to say about
Wearing
you
the
today.
same color shirt as
Yeah, we went almost the same color today.
Color coordinated.
But yeah, thanks for
Call each
watching,
other.
and remember, new episodes every Monday at
7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time.
Correct. Awesome.
You-
Thanks.
yeah.
Thanks for watching the Greg and Tim Show podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with all your friends. Sharing is caring.